talking about something I was asked today, which is how do I read so many books? Lots of people have a goal to read lots of books, and they just can hear me and the internet is connected. Give me a heart so I know that the internet is working. So just crush that heart button if there is one, and or like button, so that I know is lots of people want to read books and they think, how am I going to? Oh, it's slow. Sorry. And then try again. But I'm going to get out of the office and go stand right next to the box where the internet is, in the hope that it's going to be better. I think I've got BT Internet, which is that whole guaranteed fast thing, which is obviously not very fast. So I need to contact them. But hopefully that'll be better, because I'm sitting right next to, in the bedroom, right next to the Wi-Fi box. I think my daughter's coming in to get changed. She just had a bath. But back to the point is, how do you read more books? Now, the way to read more books is first figure out whether that's something you really want to do. Because if you really want to read books, then you've got to set it as a goal. So this year, I have been reading books on and off for a couple of years. But this year, I set a goal that I wanted to read 50 books. So in this year, I'm going to read 50 books, which is about one book a week, right? Which sounds like a lot, but there's lots of different types of books. You have very short books and you have very long books. So some books you could read in a day, and there's some brilliant books which you can actually read in a day, and some books are a bit longer. Like Anne Frank's diaries took me about a week, so that was quite long. And then there's some books like, what other books are there? This Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. That's a tiny book. I think I read that in about half an hour. So some books you can just crush really quickly, and some books will take you a little bit longer. And there's some books that I've read and I thought that was really good, and I'll tell you what I did with that. But so do let me know if you can hear the audio. Give me a heart and I'll get into the strategy of how I do it. So the first thing I do is I set it as a goal. So I've actually written up, and in my office I can show you, I have a sheet of all the books that I've read. So I've got a numbered target list of 50 books this year, and every time I read a book I actually write in the name of the book and I tick it, and I put the date in which I completed the book. So that's just for me to keep on track of how I'm doing. That's one thing. First thing is set as a goal. Second thing you want to do is you want to obviously pick books that really interest you, because if you're really interested in the topic, then you're more likely to read it. So for me, it's self-development. I like sharing about that. I like talking about it. I like reading books in that area. So then that's what I will read about. My son just pointed a gun at me and I confiscated it because he was trying to shoot his sister, and he's just got this big smile on his face because his mum gave him the gun back. But so the first thing is, once you've done the goal setting, second thing is you want to figure out what you're going to be reading. And one constant area that I will go to is go to a chart of the top 100 books in self-development, and then I will look through that list and then pick which books I want to read out of there. Does anyone else live in a like a madhouse, or what's the word? A zoo? Does anyone else live in a zoo? Or is it just me? Okay. Anyone else live in a zoo? Give me a heart, so I know who else lives in a zoo. So once you've got your once you've got the list of the books that you want to read, then I would source them. So I tend to source my books off Amazon, and I get secondhand books. So there's some incredible books that I've picked up for like £2 or £3, and I think this is ridiculous. Like Anne Frank's Diaries, which is a brilliant book. Badly, you don't live in a zoo. You've got like older kids. It can't be that bad as it is here. But so once you've got that list of books, then you go on Amazon and you just find whichever ones are the cheapest, right? You can pick up Anne Frank's Diaries for 1p, I think. So you only pay for delivery, essentially. So it's probably going to cost you like £2.99 for a book like that, which is potentially a life-changing book. So you'd source the books that you can out of there, because written is always better than listening to an audiobook or consuming it via Kindle. And that's my opinion, but that's my opinion from doing years of reading. So the second thing is, once you've done that, then once you've got your book there, is you need to find time to actually read it. So this is a third thing. So in order to do that, you have to cut something out. So for me, I used to watch a lot of UFC fight videos, that kind of stuff, and spend a lot of time on YouTube in general. And I would justify it by saying I'm a YouTuber, so I need to be on YouTube to find out what's relevant. But I end up just going down the rabbit hole of spending hours and hours on YouTube. And now my wife's got Netflix, which is no better, because now that's a whole different rabbit hole. So what I used to do when I was really good at reading a lot of books was I used to think, before I click on the YouTube button, where I'm probably a bit harsh on myself, I would think, is watching this going to make my life any better versus reading something? And the answer is always no. Because if I read something, whether it's to do with spirituality, somebody's incredible life story, and I'll share one with you during this live call, it's always going to make me a better person than watching like Spider-Man would. Not that Spider-Man is a bad film and it doesn't have morals and all of that kind of stuff, but books tend to have more of an impact on me. So that would be the kind of decider. So then I think, okay, well, I've got an hour in the evening, I need to read. I did watch UFC actually. I still watch UFC. I watch I probably watch an hour of not actually UFC, but the highlights of the fights, and then the post fight interviews, because if you got Nate Diaz, you kind of got to watch the post fight and the pre fight. And I watched a bit of Embedded, but yeah, brilliant. It's good to have him back. So I'm looking forward to the Masvidal fight if that goes through. So that should be amazing. But if you don't know about UFC, you have no idea what we're talking about. But Bali's a UFC fan as well, so looking forward to the Khabib fight. That'll be good. And yep, so that'll be good. And also the Israel fight. I'm really looking forward to that. But so once you've got your list of your books, you know that you actually want to read, you've carved out some time, then you've actually got to get down to the reading bit. So now what I do with reading a book is I will skip through the introduction, I will go straight into the content, which will be chapter 1, and I'll start reading. And there's one book called The One Thing, and that book I've dog-eared probably every other page. There's so many nuggets, it's like gold, that book. So I'll go through there and I'll read. I wouldn't call it skim reading. I'll read, but it won't be like, I won't spend a long time on each page. I will just read and then get the gist of what the person's saying. And then if I like what the person's saying, if it resonates with me, if I'm learning something, if it's kind of hitting me, then I will dog-ear it so I can come back to it. And then I will continue to read like that. And if it's a really good book and it's giving me a lot of it's really hitting me, then I will just read it really slowly and try and get as many. I'll give you recommendations in a sec, Baj. I saw Baj today on the Underground, which was lovely. It's so nice to see. It's so nice to see a thing like on your journey. Don't know if you ever get that feeling when you see somebody and then you get to say like the fateh from far away. But so once I've done that, once I've dog-eared the book, and some books they're kind of a bit fluffy, I would call them. So there's a lot of they talk around a topic and then they will give you like a nugget of information. So I would dog-ear those sections. And then if it's a really good book, I'll put it in the calendar to review the book in about 3 months. So there's a couple of books that I'll talk about which I'm going to be reading again every 3 or 6 months, because they're just so good. So then once you've done that, then what I tend to do is I would say teach it. So if you want to be good at something, I would say teach it. So because I want to actually internalize these things and implement them, then I try and teach it. So this is one way of trying to teach it. This is one way of teaching how to read a book. And there's actually a book called How to Read a Book, which lots of people in the professional development sphere or that genre recommend you read. Now I've read some of that, and I think this video is all you need if you want to become more of a prolific reader. But once you've gone through the key points, then you can set in a calendar date for when you're going to review it. Very nice, very nice. My daughter's just trying on a dress. The sing nod, definitely. And do you ever get Rastafarians giving you the nod as well? Because I find it, I think there's some kind of mutual respect there. But I always get the nod from Rastafarians as well. So let me know if you comment if you ever get the Rastafarian sing nod. So that's kind of my process. And the last bit is to teach it. So I'll go on Instagram, or I will write it down in my Google Keep. So I'll write, actually, that's a really good point, or I really want to bring that up. So I teach on Instagram, and I share on Instagram. But I also have coaching clients who I help through weight loss or help in business. So with them, on a daily basis, I'll be sharing what I've learned to help them, because it's helping me, and so I think it's going to be of value to them. And so I'm doing the work. I'm making it my job to do the work to make their life easier and summarize and present and create value for them. So that's how I kind of there's a star there respect. Oh, cool. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? So that's my process for reading more books. And at the moment, I think I've read probably about 35 books this year. I've still got probably 15 books to get through before the end of December. There's a couple of hacks that I will say, which if you want to read more books, like if you have an arbitrary target, like read 50 books this year, that you can do. One of the targets is, one of the hacks is just turn off social media and turn off your internet and turn off your phone. So when I was really good at reading books, I knew that when I go on the internet at night, it's just a downward spiral, and I end up like on the internet till 2-3 in the morning, and it's just not productive. So I decided for a period of time that I wasn't going to do anything tech related at night. If I wanted to do anything social media related, that kind of stuff, I would just do it in the daytime hours. For me, daytime is like 6 till 9, which is a pretty long daytime. So after 9, if I want to do social media related stuff, I'll do it then. Sorry, before 9. And then after 9, just turn off my phone. When I was being good, turn off my phone and then just read. So you've got if you go sleep late like me, or you wake up early, then you've got a good couple of hours of solid time to focus, and because you need concentration. I think reading, I've read one research study that shows that reading is beneficial, like meditation is, for improving your health. And increasing your longevity. So that process is only going to really happen if you're concentrating. If you're trying to do loads of things at once and trying to read, you're not going to get any benefit from it. So it's better that you read less, but you shut off everything so you can focus. And nighttime or early morning is a great time to do that. So so that's one hack, is just turn off technology, switch your Wi-Fi plug off, switch your phones and your laptop off, and just sit there, get comfortable, and just read. And then get a piece of paper, pen, and write down, underline any bits that stick out to you, and definitely make use of the book. So don't be like, oh, I don't want to write on this book, or dog ear it. Just make it your own. So write all over it. The next hack I would say is audiobooks. Now, lots of people spend a lot of time commuting. My commute at the moment, when I go to Great Ormond Street, which I work at locum, so I'm not there every day, but my commute is like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So that's 5 hours. Now, most audiobooks that I read are about 7 hours long. And I don't like the speed at which authors read. So I usually speed it up a little bit to 1.25 or 1.5 is probably the max I go. So at 1.5, I can listen to an entire book just on my commute. And some of these books are incredible. I read one called Finish by Cal Newport, and that book is 4 hours long. Brilliant book. And I read it. I probably listened to it in half a day, while I was doing my commute and while the kids were playing. So you can, and it's great for if you're washing the dishes, if you're doing stuff like that. And I'm going to boast that I do those kinds of things. So if you're doing things like that, like cutting the grass, kind of mindless things, then if you're not doing anything else, you can listen to audiobooks. So that's a really powerful way. I know some people are podcast fans, and I have been in the past, but I find podcasts have a lot of fluff, meaning they have adverts, they have pre-roll, all of that kind of stuff. So in a 20-minute podcast, I find that some of it is useful, probably maybe 10 minutes, but it's hard to just, wherein a book is much more succinct than a podcast is. And it's focused on a topic, so I really like that. So that is my kind of hacks. And then the audiobooks, turn off technology, and I think that's about it. So that's my hacks for reading more books. There'll probably be other things that I think of, so do DM me if you want to read more books, and we can motivate each other. What else is there in reading books? So someone asked, what are the best books to read? And in terms of self-development space, I've read one recently that I've been recommending to I taught at the hospital yesterday and today, and I've been recommending it to everyone recently, and it's called The Small Big Things, and it's written by somebody called something Fraser. Now his story is he was a rugby player. I think his brother played for England. 4 brothers. One played for England. One played for a regional team. He was like a brilliant prospect. His dad was a rugby coach, so rugby family. And I think he was 16 or 17. He was in college. He went on his first holiday to Portugal. He was in the Algarve. He went swimming in the sea, and as you do, and he was doing that. He had dived into the water about 40-50 times that day, no problems. But he dived in just to kind of escape the heat, as he did on the other times. And there was a big rock there. He hit his head and he severed his spinal cord. And they told him he would never move his head again independently. He would never swallow again. He'd be in a wheelchair his whole life. He'd never have any movement below his neck downwards. And he made a brilliant recovery. He got some movement back in his hands through intense hard work and visualizations, all of that kind of stuff. But that's not the remarkable thing. The remarkable thing is his mindset, how he got through all of these things. And he shares it in the book. And his book is actually recommended on the front cover. The recommendation is by J.K. Rowling, the person who wrote Harry Potter. Everyone knows her. And she says it's definitely a brilliant book and worth reading. Now, that book kind of changes your mindset, and I think that's definitely one worth reading that I would recommend regarding personal self-development. And in terms of other books, I don't think I've read a book which I would say has been a waste of time. You will learn something from every book that you read, because it's somebody's life compressed into a book, and it costs a couple of pounds. So you're never going to lose by reading one of the books. If you go to top 100 self-help books, you'll see charts of kind of the most popular ones. Some will resonate with you more than others, depending on your personality, what areas you want to work on. But The Small Big Things is probably the one that I would recommend everyone read. And in terms of other authors that are really good, the classics are really good, like Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, and who else is there? Les Brown. Any of the classics I think are really good. But Small Big Things is, I would say, is my kind of first port of call to go to. Also, Jim Rohn is a classic self-help author. And with people, speaking to people who read a lot of self-help stuff and self-development stuff, it's not really new stuff you're going to get. It's just presented in the author's style, and sometimes you might connect with one person's style more than another, so it resonates with you more. So that is what I would recommend. And then, yeah, if you found value in this video, if you know somebody who wants to get through more, read more this year, then do share this video with them. Do get them to like and follow the page, and keep up to date. And if you found value in this, then drop me a DM, and let's work together to produce more content. Let me know whatever kind of content you want to see, and I'll keep producing it. So thanks a lot for tuning into the live, and catch you guys. If anyone has any questions, now's the time. Good to see you. Lovely to spend time with you in Scotland, but definitely didn't get to catch up enough. Go Sharon, Simran, Deeps, Bubban. He's the guy's a legend. He always joins into the live chat, so really appreciate his time. Vikram, PB, Luddy, Bali, thanks for the banter. Jita, Sukhman, Rishpinder, Bao. So thank everyone who's commented, taking the time to join in. Ria, Gursharan. So don't have time to go through all the names, but really appreciate you all, and we'll catch you on tomorrow's live chat. Have a great evening.